Welcome everyone. Welcome to today's webinar panel. I have the lovely pleasure of getting the opportunity to talk with you as well as my co-panelist, Jessica, who will be introducing herself in just one moment. So this today, we are going to be looking forward to giving you ins and outs on our upcoming virtual career fair, which we're hoping October the 3rd that you're going to be coming and being a part of. It's only 1 week away, y'all, like literally. We planned this in January, February, and now it's here. And so we're so excited that you all are here with us for us to give you the behind the scenes scoop on what you'll be experiencing when you go to the virtual career fair. All right. So we are currently recording this webinar to ensure accessibility for all participants. You can also enable closed captioning via your browser. We recommend using Google Chrome, where you can click on the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner, click on settings, and then accessibility. You may refer to the screenshot in the presentation, reference a breakdown of instructions on how to access closed captioning on different browsers in the content section to the right. You're going to be able to reach out to a CareerCircle employee in the tech support booth in the lobby to assist you if you need accommodations or have questions. All of the resources that we discussed today and more can be located on the content tab near the people and discussion feed to your right. Please make sure you watch until the end, as we have some awesome panelists, including myself, who are going to be sharing their stories and their thoughts, all right? With that being said, let me introduce myself a bit more. My name is Brittany Knowles. I am the Learning and Development Specialist here at CareerCircle. I am African-American female with a natural hairstyle. I have to look at myself and see what my hair is today. It is dark at the roots and light towards the end. I'm wearing wide brimmed glasses as well as a smile. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I'm going to turn this over to my co-host and co-panelist, Jessica.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica. I am the marketing project coordinator here at CareerCircle. I help run all things events, so I am super excited to be able to speak at this event today. I am wearing a blue CareerCircle shirt, and I have lots of fun little things on my wall behind me, some pink macrame and yellow pillows. So if anyone's into that like maximalist decor, let me know, because that's totally my thing. So um, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm super excited to be here with you all today.
Wonderful, amazing. Jessica, thank you so much. We're so excited to start this conversation. And so let's start by defining what is the virtual career fair? What is CareerCircle's virtual career fair? So a virtual career fair is an event that connects employees a virtual space. Candidates can learn about various organizations and career opportunities without having to attend an in-person event. Y'all, this is an opportunity for the most accessible fair that you'll probably ever hear about, right? You don't have to go anywhere. Behind the screen of your computer, you have the opportunity to meet with a number of organizations and connect with recruiters and hiring managers that are interested in supporting and working with you. So super excited that you are here. Super excited that I know already that you've already registered for this event. So let's dive into your rights as an employee. Recognizing that we have individuals on the call from all walks of life. We may have someone that is fresh out of college and has no experience, and we may have someone who's at an executive level that has been working in their career for a period of time and looking to shift into a different career path, that sort of thing. And so with that in mind, I want to make sure that I am reiterating for some and introducing to others some of the rights that you have. So if you all have not heard of the ADA amendment that went out, specifically, it is a law where the government has made it where it is illegal to not provide accommodations for employees within reason for a company that has 15 or more employees. Okay. When I say within reason, I am specifically talking about cost prohibitive. And so anything that would be considered a financial strain on a company, something that would be cost prohibitive, would not be considered something that is mandatory for an organization to do. But if it is a reasonable accommodation, meaning it's not cost prohibitive, then an employer has to provide those accommodations for you. And just a quick note, quick hint, the majority of accommodations are free. Anywhere from being able to take breaks or being provided with written instructions, those kinds of things are free to do. The majority of accommodations that are asked for, there is no cost associated. And if there is a cost associated, most and oftentimes it's $500 or less. Okay, so I'm saying that to say most accommodations that are requested are within reason. Okay. So going on to the next point, Title One of, and I am so sorry because that is so small. Let me see if I need to open up my, yes. Okay. So employers are required to provide reasonable accommodations if it does not impose an undue hardship. So I've already started talking about that. And we talked about the cost prohibitive component being what would be considered undue hardship. Okay. We can go to that next point. And then Title III of the ADA prohibits places of public accommodation from discriminating, regulated, and enforced by the U.S. Department of Justice. Okay. So just wanted to make sure that we were reiterating those points, that you have these rights as a job seeker, as a future employee, and that you should not be concerned about your disability and asking for accommodations. And that brings me to my next point about if you choose to disclose. Now, there was something, Jessica, you're so wonderful. You clicked right before I was about to say my last piece. There was a little circle that I was supposed to read. She's so wonderful, y'all. Okay. Yes, she told me yesterday to remember to say, we're partnering with companies that are so excited to meet you. So I want to reiterate that. Okay. Before she gets me after I get off of this call for not saying that piece. But again, as I already mentioned towards the beginning of today's call, you all have the opportunity to meet with organizations that have come to the table wanting to support individuals, professionals with disabilities. And so already you have an audience of people that are waiting, willing, and able, and want to hear from you and want to provide you with the success optimizers that you need in order to be able to do the roles that they have, that they're hoping that you'll be able to utilize and take advantage of and become a part of their family, right? Now, disclosing is absolutely a personal choice. It is up to you and your level of comfortability about whether or not you choose to disclose. At no point do I want, or anybody within CareerCircle wants to pressure anyone to disclose. It is absolutely, again, a personal choice. But I do want to give this caveat. When you are going into a situation where you are job seeking, you are interviewing the employees, or I'm sorry, interviewing the employer as much as the employer is interviewing you. You need to go into a situation not thinking, what can I do to form myself into what they would want me to be? You need to go into a situation thinking of it in terms of, is this going to benefit me? Is this going to benefit my family? Am I going to be able to be my authentic self within this role? Am I going to be able to do my best work in this role? And so that means for me, it would behoove me as an individual to disclose so that I know that these individuals want to work with me. I want to go somewhere where I'm celebrated and not tolerated. Make sense? So, with that being said, I just want to encourage you, not force you. I just want to influence you, plant a seed that you want to be truly yourself and give yourself the opportunity to not have to code switch, to not have to mask, to be able to be yourself, to allow the individuals around you to support you. And so if you do decide to disclose, which I would be proud of you either way, you want to be prepared, okay? You want to, as I want to make sure that I'm reiterating the fact that you are the subject area expert on what it is that you need. And so come into the conversation being prepared, know what it is that you need, communicate it effectively, and make sure that you're connecting what you need with how you're going to be able to perform your role effectively. The next component is document the conversation. Sometimes, oftentimes individuals with disabilities do not disclose. And so you have certain companies that have a process in place but that don't utilize the process very often because they don't have as many employees that disclose. And so sometimes there can be a breakdown, and it may not necessarily be that it was done intentionally. It could just be that the process isn't run through very often. And so you want to make sure that you're documenting when you do it, as well as documenting when they said that they would be able to provide those accommodations. And then you want to be your best advocate. If it hasn't come through or come down in the time period that they've said, make sure that you go back to them, and then you have proof of when you stated whatever it was, and you'll be able to go from there. Okay, we're going to go to the next slide. Frequently asked questions. All right, can an employer ask if you have a disability or need a reasonable accommodation? I'm so glad you asked that question. Here's the answer: no, unless. Okay, that unless is italicized for a reason. Unless it is believed it is needed to perform the job. Like, it is needed to perform the job. Two, you disclosed the disability first. And three, it is a standard practice to ask every candidate. Now, it would be considered a an employer could open themselves up to litigation if they make an assumption about if you have a disability and then ask you if you have a disability, if that is not something that is across the board. Okay. And so if that is part of their standard process to do, then they can do that if they do that for everyone. But if they are singling an individual out, then that is how they can open themselves up to litigation. Okay. So just wanted to make sure that you are aware your rights when it comes down to having to disclose a disability and what that looks like. Okay, next question. If I disclose that I need an accommodation, can that be shared with others? Yes, but only on a need to know basis. Okay, what do I mean by that? If you tell me, and then I go to the water cooler and I say, OMG, did you know such and such has this going on? I am opening myself up and this an organization up to litigation, right? If I am your manager, you disclose to me, and in our organization, we have a point of contact who is the person that is able to provide whatever accommodation or manages that component of it. Then I can disclose to this person. But as a hiring manager, my best bet would be to provide you with our accommodation statement and the contact information of whomever is the point of contact for this, so that I am not disclosing on your behalf. You're following the protocol that's put in place for the organization, that the process will run smoothly. Okay. All right. We're going to go on to the next slide. Now, I have talked about a bunch of things in these 13 minutes that I've had your full and undivided attention, and I'm so glad. But I wanted to make sure that I'm expanding upon this. I want for you all to have additional resources outside of this webinar. So, what you have before you are some of the places that I've gotten some of the information that I was able to share. As well, I want to make sure that you recognize that blue square that Jessica is going to get me if I don't read. It says, these resources are linked in the content section near the chat tab. Okay, so make sure that you are connecting with these organizations. They have a ton of resources for you. Now, I see some comments in the chat. I'm going to be looking at that as I turn this over to none other than the one, the only Jessica, that's going to go more in depth on what to expect in Brazen.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Brittany. I think that especially with this upcoming event, it's so important to, let our members, let our employees know about, their rights that they have. If you are someone that does decide to disclose a disability, and I saw some questions in the chat about how do we know what companies are partnering with for this upcoming event. I'm going to show you all of that really awesome stuff. Um, I'm going to really get kind of into the nitty gritty of like how to make sure that your profile is set up for success, how to navigate the event itself, and give you a lot of tips and tricks for just optimizing your experience. So I do want to apologize if it looks like I'm looking up. I am looking at the screen. So I promise I am still engaging with you all. I am just looking at the presentation itself. So some tips and tricks for event success. I recommend for your actual career circle profile that these are some things that you do. So I think it would be really great if you make sure that any relevant certificates or certifications that you have that uploaded on your profile beforehand. You have your most up to date resume uploaded already. You can upload a profile picture if you want to. Some people decide not to, and that's absolutely fine. But sometimes it can kind of help put a face to a name, make it really memorable. That's something that some people decide to do. Um, Add some personal information like city, state, phone number. That can be helpful for, let's say, if you're applying to a job that is in Houston, that person or that hiring manager can see that you reside in that area, right? And then feel free to include the link to your LinkedIn profile. That is something that can, again, kind of increase that. Networking, increase your visibility. A hiring manager could click on that. They could, connect with you outside of the event itself. So that could really be helpful for optimizing your experience. Now, these are some nice to haves. Um, I always recommend that members set up to 5 job alerts. 5 is the maximum, but you can cater it to your certificates that you have. You can cater it to specific jobs that you're looking for. You can filter it to only be remote or within a specific zip code. So setting up job alerts can really be helpful because anytime new jobs come up on the platform, you will be the first one to know about it. You will get those emails. So definitely recommend setting up those job alerts. That's going to really be a helpful thing for you. Um, Also, just 2 more things, adding employment preferences. So are you looking for full-time or part-time, remote or hybrid or office? Those are things that can, again, help hiring managers filter you into where exactly you're looking for, right? And then include those compensation preferences. That's a nice to have. You don't have to, but it can, again, help with that experience overall. Now, before the event, so this is really cool. We are exactly 1 week away to the day from the virtual career fair that we're holding next week. So, you all have the privilege of going into the lobby. You all can actually explore what this event looks like all the way up until the event itself. So we have opened up the event a week ahead of time. Now it's not live, so you will not be able to interact with anyone until the event actually starts. But the reason that we do that is so that way you can see what companies will be there. You can see maybe what job postings are available. Now I do want to explain the caveat that job postings are up to change until the day of the event, but it can give you a really good idea of what industry these companies are in. Maybe you can do some research on are there recent news articles on these companies. Maybe they really align with my values. What types of jobs are on their careers page, because I do also want to note that let's say there are 5 to 7 jobs on that actual booth in the virtual career fair. That doesn't mean that that's all that's available. You can also chat with the recruiter possibly, and then go to their career page and see way more jobs that are available, right? And so I recommend that you do a lot of research on your own within this next week to kind of just really get prepared and have the best experience. I do also recommend that you have an elevator speech prepared. Now, that's for a couple reasons, and I'll get to that as we move forward with the presentation. But the elevator speech can be super simple, just a couple sentences. Who are you? What are your goals? What are your accomplishments? Um, let's say that you're coming back from a career break. That's totally fine. This is a really great time for you to, touch on your transferable skills, those soft skills. Stay at home parents, oh my goodness, they have so many transferable skills, budgeting, multitasking, um, you know, management, right? And so a lot of that is so transferable. It's really great to make sure that you're touching on those things from your resume and kind of just sticking them in your elevator speech for, if you get the opportunity to speak to someone like that, right? So I'm gonna do a quick demo here. I'm gonna show you how it all works. But I think I want to pause really quickly. Brittany, do we have anything in the chat? Let's see. Okay, I see some people that are saying, oh,
Oh,
go ahead,
good,
Brittany.
good, good. I saw someone in the chat say something about how they have disclosed in the past and they did not get a call back.
Hmm.
Um, I want to acknowledge that statement and say that I recognize that there are individuals that have when it comes down to hiring professionals with disabilities. And so I want to acknowledge when I was talking about disclosing and I was talking about how it could be beneficial to you to disclose, I recognize that this could be an outcome that although companies are not supposed to discriminate based on these things, there are certain individuals that do. There are biases that are sometimes unconscious. And so it's about you and your discretion and when you decide to disclose. So I will also put that caveat in there as well. You may decide that you don't want or you would rather disclose once you've already been hired. You may be someone who wants to disclose up front, and so timing is also a situation that to think of as a factor as when it comes to or relates to disclosing your disability. So I did want to acknowledge that and thank you so much for
Hmm.
sharing it. And I want to apologize that that has been your experience, but hopefully companies like the ones that we have are influencing those organizations that may not be as aware of how they may be impacting certain individuals and identities. And so just wanted to say that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you, Brittany. I think that's such an important point. Um, and thank you for stopping to acknowledge that comment. I didn't see it quite yet, but now I do. And I think that you're exactly right. I'm really excited for this event, specifically for the fact that we are partnering with those companies that, you know, they're acknowledging that this is an event for, members that may identify with this disability, right? And so, whether you decide to disclose what that is or not, or if you have one or not, that's absolutely fine. But what shows is that these are all events or these are all companies that are here for you and they're here to support you. So I see a couple comments and questions asking, you know, there's one person that said that they are recovering from a kidney transplant. First of all, wow, thank you for sharing that. That is, I can only imagine, right? And so I can completely understand why you would need a remote job. Absolutely. Um, that could be one. That could be something that is an accommodation, right? And so um, maybe it's a hybrid type of situation and you say, well, due to XYZ, I actually need there to be an accommodation where I work from home completely, right? The thing is if you are the best talent, you will be hired, right? And so, especially as Brittany was saying, most accommodations are completely free. And so, it's completely up to you if you decide that you just want to apply for only remote roles because you're not ready to disclose that, um, what you're experiencing, or if you do, and that's a completely reasonable accommodation to ask for. Absolutely. Um, Great. I'm
I
going to
see
go
some
ahead and,
more.
oh, yeah, go ahead.
Did you want to do one more question?
Yeah, let's do one more and then we'll do some more at the back end when we do a Q&A.
Absolutely. I see from Christina, she said, if we see jobs we're interested in, should we apply now or wait for the job fair?
Ooh, that is a really good question, Christina. Thank you. I would say either is okay, right? So, as I said, if you see some jobs in the lobby right now, they may or may not be there the day of. Like, we are absolutely like filtering through. We want to make sure that we have the best and most
Up to date.
yeah, up to date and applicable positions, right? And so if you see one and you're like, oh my goodness, this one is the job for me, go ahead and apply. Absolutely. And then what I think could be really cool is, let's say, even if the job still isn't listed there, you could always reach out in that chat that I'm going to show you in just a second and talk to one of the recruiters and say, hey, I actually just applied a few days ago to this position. What a great way to speak with someone from that team and do a follow up. So, completely up to you if you want to wait or apply now, but I think either is absolutely fine.
And if I
Great
could just jump
question.
in here real quick,
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, Jessica. And I feel that often, and I'm going to give this is behind the scenes scoop, y'all. Often individuals come to the career fair and they have not looked up the companies, they have not looked at the jobs, and they come into these chats and they're saying, this is what I got going on. What can you do for me? So, you coming in, having applied for a role, and knowing what it is that you want, that's going to set you apart from those individuals that are not coming prepared. And even if the role that you apply for, as Jessica was saying, is no longer available, you're now in these these companies' applicant tracking system. And so it gives them an opportunity to see what kind of person you are. You're proactive, you're communicative, you do your research, right? Those three wonderful attributes. And then they may look at your credentials and be able to point you in that direction of some other opportunities, pipeline. That's what recruiters call it, when maybe this particular role that I have open right now isn't the one that aligns directly with um, your skill set, but I have other opportunities for you. And so I love that you're being proactive and that you asked that question. And I think that it's only going to be a benefit to you to do your research and apply early.
Absolutely. Yeah, really great questions. And keep those forward-thinking questions coming. I would love to answer those for you. Um, I'm going to move ahead and I'm going to show you how to register for the event if you haven't yet. And then I'm going to show you a bit about what it's going to look like during the event. So registering for the event, and I'm going to ask that my colleague Luke, if he's available, to put the registration link in the chat. Um, but you can also just go to careercircle.com/events. So easy peasy. At the very you know, middle, I believe, of the webpage, you'll see career fairs, and this is going to be the first one under career fairs, right? And so you can register for the event, and it's going to have a form for you here. Now, the only things that you have to complete are the things with the red asterisks next to it. So first name, last name, city, state, country. However, I recommend, if you feel comfortable, putting in your skills and certifications, if applicable, and your resume at the very least. LinkedIn profile is always a plus. Saying if you're willing to travel is always a plus. But the skills is extremely important, as is your resume, because hiring managers have the chance to filter through candidates for different skills. And so if you say that you have experience in UX design, awesome. You're going to show up on that list. If you have experience in data analysis, even if it's not in the workplace, right? But maybe you got your data analytics certificate. This is a great way to showcase that by saying that that's your skill set. Um, so I definitely recommend that you do that there. Fill this out as much as you feel comfortable, but the more it's filled out, the the more search results you're going to pop up in. So that's definitely a plus there. Now, entering the event. So I said that you all could join from the lobby. You all could see it early if you wanted to. So this is how you're going to do it. When you're on careercircle.com, you're on your profile, there's going to be a little like toolbar at the top. Um, and you're going to see your events. So this is different from the overall events page. These are your events on your profile. So this is one that I could see I've registered to. Um, and this, because it's as of today, you should be able to click on it and it will say like enter event, right? So, it doesn't start until October 3rd at 12 o'clock, but like I said, you get that early access, you can see it. So definitely recommend that you register and then take a quick peek at it. So this is what the lobby will look like. This is what we kind of, it's like our virtual room, right? So there's going to be different booths. That's what we call these little rectangles here. And they're each going to be different companies. So what you can do is you can click enter on each company, take a peek at what they have to offer, what jobs are available. And then you'll also notice this career fair support booth. So I'm going to get a little bit deeper into each function here, but I do want you to kind of notice the difference between the career fair support booth as well as the company booths. So during the event, there are some different features which are really important to kind of acknowledge, notice, and prepare for. So there is a chat feature. So once you are in the booth itself, you click enter, there's going to be a green button up here that says chat. So that is how you get in line essentially. So once you get in line, it'll ask you maybe a question or two for which job you're interested in or what skill sets, you have that relate to that job. And then you'll click next and you'll get in line. Now, I do want to express the fact that you can get in line in up to 4 different booths. So you don't just have to sit and wait to, join this one conversation. You can click chat, you can wait in line, and then you can go back to the lobby, click on another company, and do that a few times. So you can really optimize the amount of lines that you're in. Now, once you get pulled into a chat, um, you'll just automatically get pulled in. You can be in up to 2 chats at a time. So then that way you can really kind of, again, optimize that experience. And you'll notice on the upper right-hand corner of your chat box a time, a counter. You have 15 minutes to start off with to speak with the representative. So a really good amount of time to kind of just chat it out. Um, you can, this is a great point to put your elevator pitch, right? To just say, this is who I am, this is what I have. You can just copy paste it from a doc you have, right? And then you could say, I'm really interested in this role that you have. I'm applying to it right now. What else can I do to kind of like maybe expedite a process? Or are you the point of contact for this if I want to follow up? So those might be good questions to ask. Now, it's possible that they might ask you for a video call. That is a feature that we have. You do not have to do the video call if you don't want to. But if you accept that, that's another way that you can chat a little bit. Um, and don't worry if you see that the counter gets down to like 2 minutes. You can also extend the time up to 2 times if you'd like to, just to kind of keep the conversation going. So that's a really cool feature. I really love the chat function and that you can get in line in up to 4 booths. Um, if you are ever wondering, man, who did I talk to earlier? They were a really great recruiter, and I want to make sure I follow up with them. On the left-hand side of the lobby, you'll notice a little clock where it says history. You just go ahead and click on that, and it will give you all of your chat history from the day. You'll click on your transcript. You can see everything that was said. Maybe they gave you some really important information in the chat, but you didn't have a chance to save it. This is a really great spot to refer back to make sure that you have all the information that you need. Now, I talked a little bit about that career fair support booth. So this is if you need an accommodation, right? And maybe you need assistance with something, our Career Circle team is going to be there to help you. We're going to be there to support you along the way. I do recommend that if you anticipate needing an accommodation, feel free to email us at accommodations@careercircle.com now ahead of time so we can make sure that we can get that for you. But feel free also to just reach out and join the Career Fair support booth, chat with us. We're there to help you. This is also a great opportunity to reach out if you need tech support. So maybe you're running into issues with something, you need help, we're there for you. So this is a great spot too. Now, a pro tip of sorts that I have is leaving a note. So let's say you are only available for the career fair for 1 hour instead of the allotted 3 hours, and you didn't get a chance to speak to all of the companies you wanted to. That's absolutely fine. You can leave a note. So underneath people, there's going to be an option to leave a note. And this is a really great chance also to do that elevator pitch that we were talking about, kind of typing who you are, maybe personalize it a bit for this company. Say, I'm really interested in this company or this position because XYZ. I would be a great asset because XYZ. That could really show them that you're putting in the extra effort, you're really interested. And the companies do have access to your profile and your resume for up to 6 months after the event. So if at any point in time they wanted to reach out to you, they have an open position that reaches, your qualifications, they might reach out to you. So this is a really great opportunity as well. All right, now after the event, these are some really important things. Again, they're not must haves, but they're nice to haves. So I recommend that you follow companies from the virtual career fair on LinkedIn because you know that these are companies that are here to support people with disabilities. They are very supportive, they are inclusive. These are great companies to work for. It's also a really great way to network, right? Maybe you really connected with a couple of the recruiters and you want to follow them on LinkedIn. Absolutely. A lot of times recruiters will post job openings on their personal LinkedIn. You will be one of the first people to see it. So definitely recommend networking that way as well. Um, and sending maybe a personal thank you note, like, thank you so much for chatting with me yesterday at the virtual career fair. I really, you know, um, had a great conversation with you and I'm hoping to hear back from you soon. I think that's a great thank you note to send. Now, I do also recommend creating job alerts. Now, I talked a little bit about job alerts on the Career Circle profile as well. But if you want to set up job alerts at any job platform, I highly recommend it. I think that's a great way to optimize the job search experience. Um, you could also set them up for different companies, right? So you know what companies you might be targeting at this point. What a great way to kind of filter that out. Um, and then follow hashtags and groups on LinkedIn. So this will not only, really improve your brand, you can help network with other people using those hashtags and groups, but you'll be more aware of what is available in the industry that you're looking for. So there's a lot of, data analyst position groups or cybersecurity groups. There's plenty of groups that, are within the certain space that you may be looking for, like-minded people, people that post jobs on those groups. It's a really great way to connect. And I see that in the chat, there are so many of you that are putting your LinkedIn's in there. So thank you. I really, really encourage you all to connect with each other. Like, absolutely. I think how great if you all, have very similar certifications or experience, and maybe you can connect that way. A lot of times it's so much about who you know and the companies that you're connected to, and how awesome is it that you all are connecting. I think that's great. Um, so I want to pause. I see that there's 23 new comments that came in before while I was talking. Um, and I want to make sure that I'm acknowledging those.
Or
Awesome.
or
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to? Okay, I got
Yeah,
one
let's
from
go ahead and
Michelle.
acknowledge a couple. Yeah.
Last week a recruiter posted a job on her personal LinkedIn. So that does that happen? And I applied. That's an interesting question.
Oh, so that does happen. And she applied. So that's awesome, Michelle. I'm glad that you were able to see that. I know that a couple of our recruiters on Career Circle, they do that as well. Um, I'm gonna name drop one of them, Kiera Myers. She is always putting job postings on her LinkedIn. Give her a follow. She is rocking it. And so I really encourage you to, connect with those recruiters that you talk with next Thursday because that's really going to be beneficial for you. Um, oh my gosh, you all are so full of energy. I'm so
I
excited about
love
this
it.
group.
I love
Um,
it. Wanda
someone
was
said
saying, I always
oh,
leave a thank you and then leave a note when no chat, typically because these companies have no jobs for me, but I want to give them appreciation for coming to help. Some of them will follow up with me post event.
good, good. I'm so glad that that's been your experience. Yes. Um, the leave a note feature is, I feel like, vital because um, that's showing that you're taking the extra time outside of the usual, just conversation, and you're maybe even customizing it to the conversation or the company or role. So really, really great. I'm glad to hear that that's been your experience, Wanda. I do want to acknowledge the fact that we have so many awesome events throughout the whole rest of the year. So if you take a peek at careercircle.com/events, definitely recommend that you do that. Um, the first one listed here, of course, is that upcoming career fair that we have next Thursday. We also have one in November that is catering towards the military community. So whether you are a military spouse, a veteran, maybe you're in active duty or you're transitioning, we are again partnering with companies that are really excited to work with you and your situation, right? We also have at the bottom here a couple really awesome webinars. So the first one on the bottom left, this is going to be in honor of NDEAM, the National Disability Employment Awareness Month, which is next month, right? And so I have some amazing panelists from many different companies, the Job Accommodation Network, um, and you know uh, the Organization of Autism Research, and so many different companies that are going to be here. They're going to talk about their experience with making sure that it's an inclusive environment within jobs and how they navigate that. Some of them are identify as neurotypical as well, and they can speak from personal experience. And then that last webinar that I have on the bottom right is for veterans, but also the military community as well. So we really want to touch on transferable skills coming out of the military. So November is especially a month with Veterans Day and all of that, and we really want to touch on that, especially right after that virtual career fair. So how do I use these transferable skills that I gained in the military, or maybe that I have as a military spouse, and how do I transfer that into a resume? So, maybe even if you're not in the military community, I think it's still going to be a wonderful conversation where we're going to talk a lot about transferable skills. We have a recruiter that's going to be joining, we have a veteran that's going to be joining, and then we also have a military spouse. So we're going to have a lot of different points of views. And it's going to be a really great conversation. And I'd love to have you in attendance to, have your point of view and your question as well. So with that being said, I would love to open this up to some Q&A. Let's see, Brittany, do you see any questions?
I
I'm
am not seeing
sifting
as
through the
many
LinkedIn.
questions, but I am seeing just some individuals that are thanking us for putting this event on. And so Alexandria said, "Hi all, my name is Alexandria, and I'm a program manager of business support for a nonprofit CDFI. I have a speech impediment, and I'm glad this event is going to help us prep for the event next week." Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I see some individuals that are looking for remote work. Now, I want to
Mhm.
be transparent about the fact that a lot of these companies do have remote opportunities, but they also have in person opportunities as well. So we want to ensure
Mhm.
that you all are coming in with a level expectation that there is going to be a mixture of roles that are going to be there, hybrid, remote, as well as in person. And so just wanted to make sure that you all were aware of that. I see some states. Someone said they were from Kentucky. Of course, I also see these LinkedIn's. I see
Um,
from. Oh, go ahead, Jessica.
Yep, I do want to acknowledge Katie has asked, she said she's a job developer in the intellectual disability sector in Boston. Love that. She asked, will job developers or support staff be able to participate in the virtual fair with the members served? Thanks in advance. So, really, really super great question. Um, I want to make sure that I'm answering this appropriately. So I might pass this off to Brittany, but I want to make sure that I'm understanding the question appropriately. I will say that you can absolutely attend as a member or an attendee. As far as support staff, we do have our own internal support staff at the moment. However, if this is something that you're interested in, I definitely recommend you reach out to us at accommodations@careercircle.com, and we can maybe have a conversation offline. But I think that's really, really great. And thank you for asking that.
I'm in complete agreement with you, Jessica. Just like for someone who has a hearing impairment and may have a person assisting with that, we that is what we are here for, to provide accommodations and support. And so I absolutely do not think that there would be any hesitation on any company's part to have someone to support individuals that are going to be participating in this event.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Are we seeing any more questions coming in? I'm scouring
Let's
through.
see. All the LinkedIn's. I love it.
Very much
Um,
so.
oh, I see. Luke, thank you so much. You reminded me. I knew there was another link. He's make sure to see it in the chat. There is a virtual career fair training video. So this is something that we have made special for all of our members. This is an extra resource besides this webinar, where if you just want to go back to it and see very specific parts, definitely recommend that you watch this. However, I do also want to note that this recording of this webinar will be sent out to all registrants as well. So you'll have both that resource and this one. But really, really great. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Yep. Will the recording be sent? I can't guarantee that it will be sent today, but I will do my best to get it sent out within the next couple days for sure. Um, really, really great questions.
I see a question that Luke already answered, but maybe because we have so many comments, it might be missed from the other members. And so I'm
Yeah.
literally going to read the question and read verbatim what Luke, our subject area expert on this, has said about it. Travis M asks, does the skills section filter in or out? Example, if I put in data management, will I be excluded from candidate searches looking for data analyst, specialist, steward? Search systems are finicky and it is hard to know what ATS systems or screens kick out for roles named differently, but the job profiles may be the exact same. Luke responded, employers can filter by any field you enter into Radency Brazen. I'd say the more robust profile fills, the better. So that was a wonderful question and answer from Luke. Thank you so much. Still going through, and I hope that you all are taking the time to ask whatever questions that you may. We want to make sure that next week you know what to look for. Um,
Yes, I
okay.
see
Oh,
one.
I see one. Is it Jonathan?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so this one is a good one from Jonathan. Hi, my name is Jonathan. Every application I complete asks, "Do you have a disability?" You have three possible answers: yes, no, and I don't wish to answer. What is the correct answer for just the application? I'm going to start it, okay? And Jessica, you finish it, okay? Um
Okay.
I would say that in the application phase, um it's still up to you if you want to disclose. It's a personal thing. And so I
Yeah.
would say, if it's because there are certain organizations that may look at that, if you were to say no and then later disclose that you were not truthful on your application, um, I may lean more towards I don't wish to answer. um, it's up to you if you ever want to disclose. If it's a situation where you have a disability that does not require an accommodation, um, it's your choice again if you want to ever disclose a disability. So um, there's so many layers to this onion that you asked. Um, my perception of it is one. Jessica, do you have another? And Luke, feel free.
Yeah, feel free, Luke, to answer it in the chat and we can relay it. But my my thought on this, and I am not in the recruiting space, I am in the marketing space. But my thought on this would be that um, just answering that I wish to not disclose at this time might be a good answer, right? Because you can always disclose once you get the interview, once you get the job, right? And then ask for that accommodation if you find that that is needed with the job that you receive. But by you giving a non answer, That's completely fine. But again, as Brittany said and really emphasized, it's completely up to you. Um, there's no right or wrong answer. And so we really can't tell you which one is you should pick, because that is a tough one. I think also, just researching the company's values and how you feel like it would be best received. That could also be a good way to go about it as well. Um, I'm trying to read some of these before who can I connect with for a UX design career circle recruiter? Great question. Um, so we do have those career coaches that are available. You can always reach out to, it's our help email. And I believe that on the bottom right hand corner of our actual website, there's like a little chat button, right? So you could always click on that and ask for a Career Circle recruiter, and then they'll get you in touch with that as well. So definitely a great question. I think that that's always a really great idea too. If you haven't met with a career coach yet, they can give you some really specific and targeted resources and assistance for your specific situation.
I see some questions, Jessica.
All
So,
right, let's go for it.
one of the questions asks from Jennifer: if I'm actively pursuing licenses, can I mention this in the job search even though I haven't actually obtained them yet? I'll give my perception, and then Jessica, you give yours. I don't have very much experience when it comes down to the license component of it, but I have had experience when it comes down to a degree, a degree component of this. And so when there have been times in the past that I have been pursuing a role, um, as of now, I have been pursuing a doctorate degree since 2018. And since 2018, I have had Doctor of Education in progress on my
Mhm.
resume, and then the anticipated graduation date. And so that is how I don't know if it is the same for a license, if it would be comparable. You do want to show that you're doing professional development and that you're wanting to fine tune your skills. I don't think that there's a hard, fast, right or wrong answer to that. I just think I personally would look at it in the same way that I would look at a degree or any other certification,
Yeah,
putting it on there, letting an employer know that that's something that you are pursuing, and then just putting that it's anticipated. I wouldn't just put it alone like you already have it. I would put that anticipated completion date.
I am in complete agreement. I'm not sure exactly what this license is for, but I know that I used to work in the clinical space, and in order to get a license, you maybe had to work a certain amount of hours, or and so that might be in progress. And no matter what, that's something that you're working towards, and maybe you don't have it quite yet, but you have experience towards it, and I think that that is worth being recognized. And so, even those of you that are in the middle of taking your Google certificate or something like that, right? Go ahead and stick that on your resume. Say, Google Data Analytics certificate in progress. And then you can always put your expected completion date as well.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
maybe Brittany would put her expected graduation date or something like that. Um, I think that that is always an option, and it can really kind of boost your visibility for things, because maybe you don't quite have that work experience, but you have that practical experience that you're getting through your license or certificate or something like that. So, really, really great question. Um,
Absolutely. There's another question. Did
mhm.
you have one, Jessica?
Nope, go ahead.
So I have a question from Juan that is: are the companies aware that some of us may not have work related experience, but do have school or the practice experience? And you
Yes,
already responded
absolutely.
to that as yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
I can expand on that too. So, yes, absolutely. Career Circle, we really value skills-based hiring, right? And so because of that, we partner with companies that recognize and know that we value skills-based hiring. So, by them even kind of joining these virtual career fairs, they are very aware, they know, and they recognize that our members might be coming from all different walks of life, right? So maybe some of our members are coming from a career break. Maybe some of our members do have a lot of relevant work experience, or maybe they're doing a complete career pivot. And so I think that, because we are kind of creating this event to cater for you, your job and your action item is to make sure that your resume really represents your best self, whether that's through your transferable skills or through your soft skills or past experience. Whatever you can really kind of bring to the table there, that's really going to help set you up for success. But yes, absolutely.
All right. I am seeing, I don't know if this is a question or if this was a statement, but the comment was I have two of the Google certificates, IT and PM. I'm assuming PM is project management.
Project
They say it's
management. Yep.
supposed to be equal to going to college for an entry level role. And so I is that a question or a comment? Is that something that you can speak to, Jessica?
Yeah, so I think it definitely depends on the job that you're applying to. However, having the IT and PM cert, that is, especially in combination, those are great to have. And congrats on getting both of those. That's huge. I will say for sure, um, and I definitely recommend that you all check out our career mapping webinar. It is, if you go to our careercircle.com/events, scroll down, you can see past events, and we have a whole webinar recording on career mapping. And one of them talks about if you have certified, kind of how do you plan those things. And a lot of times, yes, those certs will help you get your foot in the door for some entry level role events. For example, like I said before, I came from a clinical side of things. I got my Google PM cert, and now here I am in marketing, right? So a lot of times it can kind of help you get your foot in the door for certain positions. Absolutely a great question. We probably have time for about one more. Brittany, what are you seeing here?
I am seeing from inside, maybe some companies will not want a disability for specific contract reasons, but others who bid on federal contracts might have check marks that the company needs, such as for disabilities to elevate their management section bids. And then Luke
Mhm.
responded, yes. And OFCCP compliance is something that federal contractors are subject to, especially. So that was one question. Um, a question from Josie was I feel like putting my ethnicity and disclosing my disability has caused me to be passed over time and time again. Would it be okay if you don't disclose either? Again, we talked specifically about the disclosing of if a person has a disability. Ethnicity is the same thing. It People have overt and covert biases, and so if it is your choice that you feel like that, well, if it's your perception that that has been something that has caused you to be passed over for opportunities, 100%. There's nothing wrong with you not disclosing that if you feel like it is negatively impacting you. Eventually, there, your ethnicity is something that I don't think can be masked, and so it will be disclosed at some point based on a person's perception and assumption about you. Um, and so it's not necessarily the same as disclosing a disability in that point of it. But it's absolutely up to you. It's a personal choice if you do or you don't. And I would hope that you don't have very many of those experiences moving forward, and especially through our platform. Again, the organizations that we partner with are organizations that are specifically wanting to support populations such as you, identities such as you, underrepresented groups such as you. And so I am very confident that on October the 3rd, you all are going to have a breath of fresh air with all of the individuals that are going to want to have you. You're a hot commodity. Okay. With that
Yes,
being said, we've
absolutely.
already said we have 1 minute to go, and I have to tell you all about what to look forward to in the coming days. So I want to thank you so much, everyone, for joining. and letting us be a part of your afternoon. I hope all of you have made some connections. We saw it already in the chat, and learned some tips or tricks to navigate the upcoming virtual career fair. We've had so much fun today. Please join us for our upcoming webinars. Our next one will be when? October the 17th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can view all events and register on careercircle.com/events. And until next time,
See you next week, everyone. Thank you so much.
bye bye. Thank you.